Archangel Michael says, "This is a final warning from heaven. God is waiting for you to return. If you skip this, you may lose the connection forever. My child, my beloved, heaven is holding its breath right now because this moment, this exact second, it was chosen for you. You didn't stumble across this by accident. No, it was sent. It was released at the precise time your soul was beginning to awaken again. Because, beloved, you're dangerously close to missing something that was meant to be yours since birth. Let me say it plainly. This is the final call before the line goes silent. God has been whispering your name over and over again, but the noise of the world has kept you from hearing him clearly. So now, Archangel Michael stands before you sounding the trumpet, not to scare you, but to protect you. Because if you don't open your spirit now, you may never hear this sound again. My beloved, there are angels surrounding you as you read these words. They've been waiting for you to stop skipping these signs. They've been holding a divine scroll, and your name is written on it. But that scroll is not eternal in this realm. It's only visible for a short time, then it vanishes. Please, before it disappears, before your chance fades into another regret, stay here. Read until the very last word. Because heaven has authorized me, Michael, guardian of light and warrior of the Most High, to break every wall that has blocked you and reveal what has been waiting behind the curtain. Clear's throat, before we go any further, let me ask you from my heart. Do not rush away. Do not treat this as just another message. This is sacred. This is the moment angels wrote about long before you were born. Subscribe now, child. Yes, right now. Not because it's a button, but because it's an act of faith. It's your yes to the call of heaven. It's your signature saying, "I'm ready." And once you do that, once you say yes, the entire spiritual realm moves in your favor. Now listen, your soul has been under spiritual attack. You felt it, the confusion, the heaviness, the silence in your prayers. It wasn't your fault. You were targeted because of who you are in the kingdom. But here's the truth. Heaven didn't want you to miss any longer. You are not weak. You are not forgotten. Clear's throat, you are chosen. And your name has been spoken in the courts of heaven in the last 12 hours. Yes, beloved, just 12 hours ago, a meeting happened among the angels and someone said, "Find them, remind them, warn them before it's too late." And so I came carrying this final warning. Because if you skip it again, you may miss the very miracle that would have broken the cycle forever. God still wants you, but his patience is nearing the final hour. And if you don't return now, heaven may go quiet. My child, my beloved, you are not reading this by chance. There are billions of people in the world. Yet this divine message has fallen into your hands. Why? Because your soul still glows. Because somewhere inside you, beneath the noise and the wounds, there's still a light burning. And heaven refuses to let that light be stolen by the shadows. I need you to understand something sacred. This isn't just another day. This isn't just another warning. This is a spiritual alarm set by God himself. He's watched you give your heart to those who didn't deserve your love. He's seen you cry at night when no one else noticed. And even when you stopped talking to him, he never stopped loving you. Not even for 1 second. But now the moment has come where time is running out. The battle for your destiny has reached a dangerous point. The forces that tried to delay you have grown stronger. And the only reason this message reached you is because heaven made one final move to protect what's still yours. But God will not force you. He will not drag you into the light. He's waiting for you to say one thing. Yes, that's all. Yes, I'm ready. Yes, I'm returning. Yes, I don't want to miss this divine appointment because, child, this was written in the book of life and you were meant to walk into a season of restoration, abundance, and miracle manifestations. But you've delayed it long enough, skipped too many messages, scrolled past too many signs, and now the window is closing. My beloved, there's a battle happening over your soul. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. The reason you felt so heavy recently, so confused, so distracted, so spiritually tired, is because something dark wants to steal what God planned for you. It's not your imagination. This is real. And if you walk away from this divine message, you will feel the silence hit your spirit hard because heaven will go quiet not to punish you, but because you chose to stop listening. That's why I, Michael, protector of the righteous and destroyer of deception, have been sent to cry out one final call. Return. This is your moment. There's no other message coming after this with this level of urgency. There's no other angel scheduled to come find you tonight. The clock is moving fast and heaven will not wait much longer. The miracle is already prepared. The blessing is already signed. But God cannot place something in closed hands. He needs your yes. Not your perfection, not your performance, just your yes. My child, do not ignore this holy interruption. Because even now there are people in your life whispering lies about you behind your back, and one of them is about to try something that will shake your world. But if you respond to this call, if you return to the light, God will cancel their plans before they even speak them out loud. But if you ignore this, they will succeed. And you'll look back wondering why everything started falling apart right after you skipped this message. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to protect you. That's why I need you to slow down. Read this entire message until the very end. Do not rush. Do not close this tab because every sentence you read is shifting something in the spirit realm. Every moment you stay is breaking chains that were about to wrap around your progress. This is holy ground, child. This is not entertainment. This is heaven's attempt to pull you out before it's too late. Now pause. Take a deep breath. Because something sacred is coming next. God told me to reveal a truth that has been hidden from you. A secret reason why your breakthrough has been delayed. But I can only release it to those who are truly listening. So if you've made it this far, you've proven yourself. You're ready. Now let me tell you the secret. There is someone in your life who was never meant to stay. They were only supposed to be a season, not your future. Your support really helps the channel grow. A $10 super thanks would mean a lot. Thanks. And one of them is about to try something that will shake your world. But if you respond to this call, if you return to the light, God will cancel their plans before they even speak them out loud. But if you ignore this, they will succeed. And you'll look back wondering why everything started falling apart right after you skipped this message. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to protect you. That's why I need you to slow down. Read this entire message until the very end. Do not rush. Do not close this tab because every sentence you read is shifting something in the spirit realm. Every moment you stay is breaking chains that were about to wrap around your progress. This is holy ground, child. This is not entertainment. This is heaven's attempt to pull you out before it's too late. Now pause. Take a deep breath. Because something sacred is coming next. God told me to reveal a truth that has been hidden from you. A secret reason why your breakthrough has been delayed. but I can only release it to those who are truly listening. So if you've made it this far, you've proven yourself. You're ready. Now let me tell you the secret. There is someone in your life who was never meant to stay. They were only supposed to be a season, not your future. But you've been holding on to them out of fear, out of pain, out of guilt. And as long as they're attached to your spirit, your blessing cannot enter. Because light and darkness cannot occupy the same space. They've been the reason for your delay. And heaven has given them multiple chances to change. But now their time is up. God will remove them soon, one way or another. But if you resist it, you may lose both them and your blessing. You must release what was only meant to teach you so that you can receive what was always meant to bless you. This is why you were brought here, not just to be warned, but to be awakened. My child, my beloved, you have no idea how long the angels have waited for this very moment, when you would finally pause long enough to hear the truth that could save your future. This truth that could shift everything in your favor. But only if you're ready to accept it with an open heart. And my child, I know your heart has been hurt. It has been betrayed, abandoned, exhausted, and used. And I know that sometimes you wonder if heaven really sees what you're going through. But listen closely now, because I've been sent not just to give you comfort, but to ignite the fire of purpose that's still buried within you. And I tell you, yes, heaven sees, heaven knows. Heaven has written every tear in the divine records. And now heaven is about to respond in a way you never expected. You've been crying out for a sign, haven't you? You've been begging for confirmation, for proof that you're not forgotten. And this clears throat. This message is it. This is the divine delivery that was sent from the courts of the Almighty specifically for your soul. And if you skip it, if you leave it unread, if you turn away now, the very thing you've been praying for may pass you by. Not because God didn't answer, but because you weren't still long enough to receive it. And that's why this is not just another warning. This is the final one. Because, child, God is waiting, but He won't wait forever. He wants you back. He wants your voice. He wants your surrender. But He will not force you. That's why this message has been wrapped in divine urgency. There's a choice in front of you that will affect every door that opens or shuts for the next 7 years. Yes, I said 7. That is how precise this timing is. And heaven sent me, Michael, not another angel, not a dream, not a whisper, but me, the defender of the righteous and the sword-bearer of heaven's will. Because the weight of this moment is not light. It holds your future in its hands. And God is offering you one last sacred path to walk away from the chaos and into your calling. But only you can say yes. Only you can return. And I know returning isn't easy. I know you feel ashamed. You've made mistakes. You've walked roads you wish you could erase. But God doesn't love you because you're perfect. He loves you because you're His. And no demon, no trauma, no secret can remove His seal from your name. You are chosen. You are called. But your connection is flickering. The signal from heaven has been growing weaker because your spirit has been drowning in distractions, people, habits, scrolling, excuses, and now it's on the edge. And if this moment is skipped like the others, the silence that follows may last longer than you're prepared for. So stay. Stay in this presence. Stay in this sacred space, because every word that follows is a rescue mission for your soul. And child, let me be very clear. You are under surveillance right now in the spirit. Yes, even now there are forces watching, trying to predict your next move. They are afraid of your awakening. Because when a chosen one returns to their divine identity, the darkness loses all its power. And so they've planted doubt in your heart, voices in your mind telling you this message is like all the others. But it's not, because this time heaven said make it loud. Make it final. Make it so clear they can never say they didn't know. So I tell you again, this is the final warning from heaven. Not out of anger, out of mercy. God has a destiny for you that would make every storm you've survived make sense. But you must step into it now. The enemy wants you to wait until tomorrow. But tomorrow is the lie that delays your deliverance. The miracle is not scheduled for later. It's ready now. But God cannot place it in hands that keep closing every time He reaches out. Beloved, this is not a game. Your life is sacred. There are angels standing behind you right now, weeping, praying, interceding for your yes, because they know what's about to unfold, both the good and the bad. And they know that if you do not act now, what was meant to be your miracle could become someone else's story. And you will watch from a distance as what was once promised to you is handed over to another vessel who said yes when you said maybe later. So I tell you again, this is the final warning from heaven, not out of anger, out of mercy. God has a destiny for you that would make every storm you survived make sense. But you must step into it now. The enemy wants you to wait until tomorrow, but tomorrow is the lie that delays your deliverance. The miracle is not scheduled for later. It's ready now, but God cannot place it in hands that keep closing every time He reaches out. Beloved, this is not a game. Your life is sacred. There are angels standing behind you right now, weeping, praying, interceding for your yes, because they know what's about to unfold, both the good and the bad. And they know that if you do not act now, what was meant to be your miracle could become someone else's story. And you will watch from a distance as what was once promised to you is handed over to another vessel who said yes when you said maybe later. But it's not too late yet. You are still breathing. You are still reading. That means the door is still open. Just barely, but it's open. And child, I beg you in the name of the Almighty, walk through it before it shuts. Because once it shuts, no angel in heaven has the authority to open it again. This is your sacred window, and I'm here to guide you through it. But I can't force your steps. I can only speak what I've been commanded to say. And the command from heaven is this: tell them they are still wanted. But tell them clearly this is the final call. My child, my beloved, I feel your spirit trembling even now. I know you're still reading, and heaven is watching this very moment with hope. Because this decision you are standing in front of is no longer small. It is no longer about whether to believe for a miracle or not. It is now about whether you will remain spiritually connected to the divine source of your life or drift silently into a future where that connection fades. And child, if it fades now, if it breaks today, the path ahead will feel hollow even if it looks beautiful on the surface. For what good is beauty without blessing? What good is success without God? What good is comfort if heaven is quiet? This is why this message had to come now, not tomorrow, not when you're ready, but now, because the timing is divine, not convenient. And your soul already knows something is shifting. You felt it in your bones, in your dreams, in the way people have changed around you lately. And even if you've tried to ignore it, even if you've distracted yourself with noise or excuses, the truth still found you. And here it is pouring out like living water because God refuses to give up on you. Even if others did, even if you gave up on yourself, even if you closed the door 100 times before, God has cracked it open again. And this time for the last time. So many times you've been close to something big, haven't you? You've had those moments where it felt like everything was about to change. Like you were one step away from your breakthrough, your answered prayer, your reward. And yet something always went wrong at the last second. Something always blocked it, delayed it, confused it, or snatched it from you. And child, I'm here to finally expose the truth. It wasn't God who withheld it. It was the lack of alignment, the absence of spiritual permission, the weak connection that could not carry the weight of the blessing. And now heaven wants to fix that once and for all, but only if you are willing to return, surrender, and say yes. Yes, you are tired. Yes, you've tried before, but this is not the same moment you've seen before. This is the divine final call. That means the resistance you've faced, the spiritual warfare you've been caught in lately, the sudden confusion, the repeated loss, none of it is random. It's all a reaction to what heaven was preparing to release for you. And the enemy saw it coming. That's why you've been attacked so hard. Not because you're weak, but because you're powerful, not because you're cursed, but because you're chosen. And the darkness doesn't attack what doesn't threaten it. So, let me ask you now, child, what if this is it? What if this is the very moment every prayer you ever prayed was lining up for? What if this is the doorway that has been hidden for years, now cracked open, glowing with light, waiting for one single yes from your heart? Will you ignore it again? Will you walk away again and pretend it doesn't matter? Or will you open your hands, lift your heart, and whisper what the angels are waiting to hear from you? God, I'm ready. I don't want to miss you again, because that's all it takes. Not perfection, not long words, just permission. The moment you give heaven permission to move again, the miracles will begin to respond. The blockages will start to lift. The delay will break. The enemy's grip will loosen. But if you refuse this invitation, the silence will return, and it will not break again until another season passes, and you may not have the strength to wait that long again. That is why this message is so intense, so clear, so direct, because there is no second version of this moment. Only one. Child, please listen to me with everything inside you. I have seen what's coming. I have stood before the future you are walking into. And if you return to God now, if you say yes now, what awaits you is beyond anything you have ever imagined. A life not of struggle, but of divine strategy, not of repeating old wounds, but of receiving new wonders. But if you delay again, the doors that were meant to open will close under the weight of your indecision. And God will honor your silence if you choose not to speak. That's the truth. Heaven never forces. It only invites. And this is that invitation. This is your invitation. This is your name being called in the heavenlies. One final time. And I, Archangel Michael, guardian of divine timing, am placing this message in front of your eyes because heaven said, go now. They're ready. If they open it, I will move. If they skip it, I will wait. But the time will pass, and so will the miracle. My child, my beloved, I need you to take this in with your spirit now. Not just your mind, but your soul. Because what I'm about to say next has been held in the vaults of heaven for a long time, waiting for the right second to be revealed to you. And that second is now. Because you are standing in the space between two timelines. And whichever one you choose today will change not only your next few months, but the very atmosphere of your life for years to come. And I do not say that lightly, for I have seen both futures. The one if you return, and the one if you ignore this. And this is that invitation. This is your invitation. This is your name being called in the heavenlies one final time. And I, Archangel Michael, guardian of divine timing, am placing this message in front of your eyes because heaven said, "Go now. They're ready. If they open it, I will move. If they skip it, I will wait. But the time will pass, and so will the miracle. My child, my beloved, I need you to take this in with your spirit now. Not just your mind, but your soul. Because what I'm about to say next has been held in the vaults of heaven for a long time, waiting for the right second to be revealed to you. And that second is now. Because you are standing in the space between two timelines. And whichever one you choose today will change not only your next few months, but the very atmosphere of your life for years to come. And I do not say that lightly, for I have seen both futures, the one if you return and the one if you ignore this. In one future, your name is whispered in high places. Doors open. People favor you without understanding why. Your health shifts. Your mind sharpens. And the blessing begins to chase you without you needing to beg for it. You step into rooms where divine alignment multiplies your smallest acts. You wake up one morning and realize you're not surviving anymore. You're walking in favor. But in the other future, the one if you walk away from this moment, you continue to wonder why everything feels stuck. Why the blessings only reach the edge and vanish. Why your relationships seem good on the surface but hollow at the core. Why peace always escapes you when you're about to touch it. And child, the worst part is that you won't even know what you missed. Because heaven never announces what you refuse to open. That's why God is giving you one more chance, one more opening in the spirit realm to say, "Yes, I will walk away from what no longer serves me. I will return to the one who never left. I will stop skipping the very signs I asked for. This is that sign. And beloved, hear me. The very moment you accept this message and let it settle into your heart, the chains you've been dragging through your days will begin to loosen. And the same voices that told you it was too late will begin to go silent. But there is urgency in the air. This moment is sacred, yes, but also temporary because you are not the only one heaven is moving for. And what has been reserved for you is still sitting on the altar sealed with your name, but the scroll is beginning to dim. Not because God is cruel, but because spiritual gifts have an appointed hour. And when that hour is missed too many times, the divine timing begins to search for another vessel willing to say yes without hesitation. And child, if you wait too long, you may hear later what you could have received now. And I know what you might be thinking, but I'm not ready. Let me tell you a divine truth. You don't need to be ready. You need to be willing. God doesn't require your perfection. He requires your surrender. He will clean you, restore you, rewire your heart and mind. But he cannot move if you're still halfway in, halfway out, waiting for convenience. Because this isn't about convenience anymore. This is about eternity. It's about reconnecting to your source before the silence becomes permanent. So I ask you, child, do you really want to walk into another year carrying this same weight? Do you really want to wonder again why others are moving forward while you feel frozen? Do you really want to pretend one more time that you didn't feel something spiritual burning in your chest as you read these words? Because you do feel it. I know you do. That stirring, that warmth, that unexplainable ache in your soul. That's not emotion. That's your spirit recognizing the voice of heaven. And child, do not let fear trick you again. Do not let guilt or shame lie to you and tell you that it's too late, that you've sinned too much, that you've failed too often. Because even now, yes, even now, heaven is ready to rewrite the script. God is ready to redeem lost years and moments. One yes can reverse everything, but only if you say it now. Only if you take the step. Only if you stop walking away from what was always meant for you. My child, my beloved, I feel the pull in your heart. That quiet battle between faith and fear, between surrender and self-doubt, between what your soul knows is divine and what your mind is trying to reason away. And I need you to understand something right now. Something heaven has been trying to whisper to you for years, but the noise always drowned it out. Your heart was never lying to you. Your spirit always knew where home was. But the pain you've experienced in this world made you forget the sound of God's voice. So now I've come to remind you, you were never meant to be disconnected. You were never meant to walk this path without divine protection. And you were never ever created to figure it all out alone. There is still time, child, but only just. Time is the one currency heaven does not hand out without measure. Because every moment carries weight in the spiritual world, and you've used up too many already, ignoring the signs, scrolling past the messages, brushing off the inner nudges, letting the noise of other people's opinions drown out what your own soul was crying for. And now, after all that delay, you stand at the final edge of grace for this particular chapter of your life. And please understand this. If you don't move now, that chapter may close forever. Not because God doesn't love you, but because divine timing does not orbit around human comfort. There is a reason this message reached you tonight. There is a reason your eyes are still on this page. There is a reason your spirit feels like it's about to burst into tears even though you don't fully understand why. That reason is this. Heaven still believes in you. Yes, you. With all your mistakes. With all your spiritual silence. With all the anger and apathy and exhaustion that's built up. Heaven still believes in you. But heaven will not chase you forever. This is the final warning because the spiritual cord between you and divine destiny is thinning. Not out of punishment, but because it has been neglected too long. And if it snaps now, if you let this moment pass, your prayers will still be heard. Yes, but they will take longer to rise. And your answers will take longer to arrive. And the grace that was once flowing like a river will become like dew, light, fragile, fleeting. Yes, you with all your mistakes, with all your spiritual silence, with all the anger and apathy and exhaustion that's built up, heaven still believes in you. But heaven will not chase you forever. This is the final warning because the spiritual cord between you and divine destiny is thinning. Not out of punishment, but because it has been neglected too long. And if it snaps now, if you let this moment pass, your prayers will still be heard. Yes, but they will take longer to rise. And your answers will take longer to arrive. And the grace that was once flowing like a river will become like dew, light, fragile, fleeting. That's why you're here. That's why your name has been written in this moment. Because even now, even after all the wandering, all the falling, all the false starts, you are still a threat to the darkness. That's why it tried so hard to keep you from this message. That's why you were distracted today. That's why your mind almost told you to scroll away. But you didn't. You stayed. And because you stayed, something has already shifted. The air around your spirit is starting to change. The angels that have been weeping for you are rising again. The fire is being rekindled. But you must complete the return. You must not stop now. There is still something coming that you haven't been told. A spiritual decision was made in heaven this morning. Someone tried to speak your name into limitation. Someone in your real life spoke against your future out of jealousy, out of fear, out of resentment. And their words were not heard by human ears, but they were heard in the spirit. And if you do not step back into alignment now, their words will begin to have weight. But if you return to God right now, if you say yes to this moment, those words will be erased before they ever manifest. The choice is yours. Heaven cannot make it for you. I cannot make it for you. Even God will not make it for you. He loves you too much to violate your will. But if you choose Him again truly, not just in thought, but in action, you will feel the difference. The silence will break. The heaviness will lift, and what was once delayed will start arriving in divine order. But if you say no, even with your silence, the window will begin to close. Not because of punishment, but because protection cannot be sustained where permission is denied. My child, my beloved, there's a reason your soul has been feeling like it's standing in the middle of something invisible. Like there's a pressure you can't explain, a weight you can't describe, a strange stillness that's not peace, but isn't fear either. That's because you're standing inside a spiritual intersection right now. A moment where heaven is watching what your next step will be. And the outcome of your future is hanging in the balance of this decision. Because some moments are just moments, but other moments are portals. And this is a portal, a divine crossing between what was and what could be. And I was sent to make sure you do not miss it. Listen to me, child. You were never created to live on the edge of your calling. You were never meant to settle for a life where you're always guessing, always hoping but never holding, always dreaming but never receiving. But somewhere along the path, your trust cracked. Your spirit got tired. And instead of standing fully in your authority, you started shrinking, telling yourself it wasn't the right time, telling yourself maybe you weren't holy enough. Maybe God had moved on to someone else more deserving. But none of that was ever true. And now I need you to hear it from my own voice. Heaven has not forgotten you. God has not canceled your assignment, but He cannot move forward with someone who stays spiritually silent. You see, the blessing is still in motion. It was never canceled, only paused. It is sitting in wait, hovering in the spirit realm like a cloud full of rain, heavy and ready to pour. But unless you open the gate, unless you say, "Yes, God, I trust you again," it will not fall, because heaven only releases what you're ready to carry. And child, you are ready now, not because you feel ready, but because the fire inside you has survived what was sent to destroy it. That is the evidence that the promise is still valid. You survived what should have silenced you, and that means your reward is still intact. But you must reach for it before this message passes out of your hands. And let me tell you something you need to hear again. You are not behind. You are not late. Divine timing is not like human timing. The reason you feel like you're running out of time is not because your promise expired. It's because your spirit is sensing that the door you need is about to open or close. And if you walk away from this message, if you skip it and say, maybe later, you may return to find that door no longer standing. Not out of punishment, but because the moment will have served its purpose. And heaven does not leave open doors where no one is walking through them. Child, the person who betrayed you didn't win. The season that almost broke you didn't succeed. That heartbreak didn't destroy your calling. It only deepened it. That's why this message had to come now. Because God saw that your faith had started flickering like a candle in the wind. and he didn't want you to give up before the miracle. So he sent me Michael, the one who wars in the spirit for people like you, the one who doesn't come unless heaven deems the moment critical. And beloved, this moment is critical. So take a deep breath. Let these words settle in your chest like sacred fire, because as you continue reading, something is being restored inside of you. Not by effort, not by force, but by presence. The presence of God is hovering around you even now. Yes, even in your room, in your silence, wherever you are, He is here. I am here. And if you stay just a little longer, the shift that you have been waiting years for will begin to activate. Child, the person who betrayed you didn't win. The season that almost broke you didn't succeed. That heartbreak didn't destroy your calling. It only deepened it. That's why this message had to come now. Because God saw that your faith had started flickering like a candle in the wind. And He didn't want you to give up before the miracle. So He sent me Michael, the one who wars in the spirit for people like you, the one who doesn't come unless heaven deems the moment critical. And beloved, this moment is critical. So take a deep breath. Let these words settle in your chest like sacred fire, because as you continue reading, something is being restored inside of you. Not by effort, not by force, but by presence. The presence of God is hovering around you even now. Yes, even in your room, in your silence, wherever you are, He is here. I am here. And if you stay just a little longer, the shift that you have been waiting years for will begin to activate. My child, my beloved, do not let your heart harden at this moment. Even if you've been let down before, even if promises were broken by others, even if your past is filled with people who said they would stay but left, even if you felt like God was silent when you needed Him most, because this moment is not like the others. And this message is not coming from the lips of a person who can change their mind. It is coming from heaven's throne through my voice. And I bring no confusion, no manipulation, no empty words. I only bring truth. And the truth is this: your life is still sacred, your future is still protected, and your purpose is still alive. But it is hanging by a thread of decision. And that decision is yours. You have been marked by destiny since before you took your first breath. And even though life has tried to cover that mark with pain, loss, trauma, betrayal, and exhaustion, it's still there, glowing beneath every tear you've ever cried in silence. Glowing when you stood in a room full of people and still felt alone. Glowing even now as your heart beats faster reading these words. Because your soul recognizes when heaven speaks. And even when your mind is doubting, your spirit is still listening. That's how powerful the truth is. It bypasses your wounds and goes straight to your eternal identity. And child, your identity was never meant to be broken. You were never meant to settle for survival. You were never meant to live in spiritual silence while pretending everything is okay on the outside. That's why this moment is sacred. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. It's raw. It's full of divine urgency. And if you can accept that God has been calling your name through the chaos, calling your name while you were distracted, while you were disappointed, while you were distant, then you'll realize you're not as far as you thought you were. You are one yes away from the turning point you've been crying for. You are one full surrender away from the very miracle that's been circling above your head, waiting to drop. But heaven cannot drop what you won't receive. So open your heart, child. Let the walls fall down. Let the lies melt away. Let the grief go. You've carried it long enough. This isn't who you were meant to become. You're tired because you've been living disconnected. You're frustrated because your soul is out of rhythm. You're feeling lost because you keep walking past the signs. But not anymore. This message is the stop. This is where the pattern breaks. This is where your eyes open again. And I tell you with fire in my voice and holy urgency in my tone, this is your last chance to grab the rope before the boat pulls away. If you skip this again, child, the silence that follows will feel different, deeper, louder, heavier. And no, that's not a threat. It's a truth that most never get to hear directly. But you have been given the rare gift of divine clarity. The veil has been lifted. The invitation is open. The seal is still glowing with your name. But if you walk away from it now, the consequences will no longer delay. And child, I say that not to make you afraid, but to make you aware, because heaven always warns before it withdraws. And this is your warning. My child, my beloved, I must speak plainly now because there are moments when sweetness must give way to clarity. And this is one of those moments because you need to hear it without filters. If you walk away from this message, the consequences will not wait for your permission. They will unfold. Not because God is punishing you, but because the spiritual laws that govern your life have been activated by the decisions you keep postponing. And every time you delay, every time you say not, now you unknowingly agree to the delay of what you've cried out for in prayer. And the angels have stood silently for too long, waiting on a yes that never fully came. But child, even now, even after all that, the mercy of heaven still reaches for you. Yes, you. Not the version of you people expect. Not the version that pretends everything is okay. Not the version you post. Heaven is reaching for the weary, raw, quiet version of you that doesn't know how much longer you can keep holding on. And I tell you, if you choose to return in this moment, God will not meet you with judgment. He will meet you with celebration. He will run toward you with joy. And the very chains that have wrapped around your life, the invisible ones choking your peace, your clarity, your finances, your relationships, they will begin to fall like dried leaves in the wind. Because heaven does not hold grudges. Heaven holds grace, but grace must be received. Cannot be stored. It is offered fresh. And this is your portion right now. Not tomorrow, not next week. You may not get this same spiritual opening again. The reason your heart feels like it's racing isn't anxiety. It's because your spirit knows something eternal is brushing against your timeline. And it wants you to pay attention. Because once the moment is gone, the door does not reopen. In the same way again. And no matter how hard you knock later, it will not sound like this again. The sound will have changed. And only those who entered when it was open will carry what this moment offers. But grace must be received. Cannot be stored. It is offered fresh. And this is your portion right now. Not tomorrow, not next week. You may not get this same spiritual opening again. The reason your heart feels like it's racing isn't anxiety. It's because your spirit knows something eternal is brushing against your timeline. And it wants you to pay attention. Because once the moment is gone, the door does not reopen. In the same way again. And no matter how hard you knock later, it will not sound like this again. The sound will have changed. And only those who entered when it was open will carry what this moment offers. So I ask you, child, what are you still waiting for? Do you need more proof? Do you need a louder sign? Heaven has already paused the silence, already allowed an archangel to speak directly to you, already extended the warning you asked for. If you still walk away now, it will not be out of confusion. It will be a decision, and decisions have weight. But if you stay, if you receive this message with full surrender, everything will begin shifting in ways you cannot yet see. There are miracles with your name etched into them, waiting behind doors you have not dared to knock on yet. There are people who have been assigned to bless you, but they've been held back until you return to alignment. There are dreams God placed in your soul before your first breath, and they are not dead, only sleeping, but they will not awaken without your yes. And that's what this is all about. Not fear, not punishment, not pressure, just permission. God will move the moment you give it. My child, my beloved, you have no idea how close you are. Not just to something good, not just to another blessing, but to a divine turning point that will alter everything around you, including the way people treat you, the way provision flows to you, the way doors recognize your name before you even knock. But none of that can unfold unless your heart is fully returned to the place it once came from. Because heaven has been holding back what's yours, not to punish you, but to protect the glory inside of it from being wasted when your spirit wasn't ready to carry it. And now, right now, that spiritual readiness is being tested through this message. You felt the change coming. You've seen the signs, the strange dreams, the restlessness, the way old habits have started to taste bitter, the way certain people have begun to shift, exposing themselves without warning. That is not random. That is the divine echo of heaven signaling that the old season is closing. And child, when one season begins to die, it always makes noise. That's what this discomfort is. It's not punishment, it's transformation. But here's the truth. If you do not respond to the transformation, it will turn into frustration. If you do not surrender to the process, you will begin repeating what you were meant to escape. I don't want that for you. Neither does heaven. And so I was sent not with gentle whispers, not with sweet lullabies, but with divine urgency, with holy fire, with a voice that cannot be mistaken for anything else because the softness did not wake you last time. The subtle signs were ignored. And now this is the final call, the one you cannot unhear, the one your soul will remember for the rest of your life. Because, child, I am not just talking to your mind right now. I am speaking to your eternity. And something inside of you, something old and divine, is weeping because it knows it's time. Time to come home. Time to remember who you are. Time to release the weight you've been dragging that was never yours to carry. Time to speak to God again. Not with perfect words, but with real ones. Time to stop pretending you're okay just to make other people comfortable. Time to give God your heart back. Not the edited version, but the real one. Time to stop hiding. Time to stop numbing. Time to stop ignoring the signs because God is still standing where you left him. Arms open, eyes full of mercy, voice whispering your name like it did when you were a child. And he has not stopped watching over you, even when you tried to disappear. Child, I must say it one more time. This is the last call for this season. And if you walk away again, heaven will go silent. Not out of punishment, but out of honor for your free will. But if you stay, if you surrender, if you say, yes, I'm coming back, then the sound of silence will be replaced with the sound of breakthrough. The drought will end. The healing will begin. The delay will be lifted. And your name will be written again on the scroll of divine favor. Not someday, but tonight. My child, my beloved, you must understand how much power your yes carries. not just as a word, but as a turning point in the spirit. Because when a chosen one finally stops running, finally turns back to God, finally says, I am ready, with their whole heart, the entire realm of heaven shifts. Angels are reassigned. Timelines are accelerated. Battles that were stuck in delay are suddenly cleared. And the plans that were paused are placed back into motion. But this only happens when the soul gives heaven full access again. And right now you are standing at the door of that very decision. You have no idea how many things have been trying to block you. The confusion that came out of nowhere, the unnecessary drama, the sudden tiredness, the voices of doubt you thought you had already overcome. All of it was spiritual resistance sent to keep you from making it here. Because this message marks a moment where God is trying to break the final delay. But if you skip it, that resistance wins. Not because it's stronger than you, but because you chose not to fight back in the spirit. And child, your soul was made for more than survival. You were created to command peace in chaos, to carry favor where others feel fear, to hear God in silence. But the longer you stay disconnected, the more your spirit will start to forget how to listen. And child, I say this with deep love. You have already gone too long in the noise. This is why your inner world has been crumbling even when your outer life looks fine. You can post the smile, but God sees the ache. You can fake the light, but heaven knows when your fire is dying. And this moment, this very message is God's way of saying, I'm still here, but I need all of you back. Not later, now.